We are there.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's Kyle and KZ.
More people get their voice out there, then I think they'll realize like we're all the same, really.
KZ decided, let's do it. Took the bait, so here we are.
Veteran Chat Project.
Where it's encouraged to not be okay all the time.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle.
And KZ.
And we are the Veteran Chat Project. And this is episode number 25. I don't know. We're calling it episode 25. Buzzsprout says it's 26, but it could be.
I think it's like 500. Right?
Episode 576. We now have 10,037 followers. And it's been great. The ride's been insane. Oh, no. Shit. Sorry. Next year's episode. I'd like to start out by saying, first and foremost, we really appreciate all the likes, listens, shares, follows, all that jazz. I mean, you guys are the reason we truly do this. This episode is going to be a lot of fun. I have a very special guest, very special to me personally, is because she is basically as much of a little sister as anyone could have without actually having a little sister. So we got the one and only Missouri Fury, Dannielle Sharp Vaughn, the lovely lady herself, to come talk a little axe throwing, a little bit of her family background, and then what it's like now being a new Navy spouse and that whole experience for her. So, I mean, we got a lot to talk about. So without further ado, there she is. What's up?
Hey.
What up?
What up? Oh, we finally got you.
I'm here.
Finally got you. We got you. All right, let's do it.
Last time we tried to schedule this, I believe we were all sick.
Yeah.
Our whole family was sick, and we were in survival mode. So
yeah, you're like, can we please? Like, yes, we can. We're all good. We're flexible. We like to say it's a just fire. You know, you just we got it. The show goes on. A just fire. We made a show, and now we got your time and we got your attention, and we got to dive into axe throwing. Is the well, I'd say the main reason I wanted her on. One, because she's, like I said, she's my little cousin. She's my basically my little sister. I don't have a little sister. She is the only female cousin that I have. So she, if so facto, turned into little cousin. So little sister cuz. And yeah, she's got a pretty cool story. She's got a new baby, got a new husband, Navy vet, Dustin Vaughn there, chatting in the message already. Yeah, so let's start with just your background. Let's tell everybody what's up and, you know, where you started. I guess we'll start with how you found axe throwing in general, or you want to start from when you moved to Colorado. It seems kind of what brought you there and how you found it.
I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, he's been pumped about this.
Well, yeah, before you start, it's just because my wife's into. She's weirdly enough, that's I love her to death. She's good at very many things, but that's the one thing she just picked up and was naturally good at was axe throwing.
And
I was like, what the of all the things?
You're like,
oh
shit, saying, watch out.
There's a saying that women are better at axe throwing initially because they're better at listening. So especially when like they don't know what they're doing, they listen to their coach, where the men come in and they're very like macho. And they're like, no, I know what I'm doing. And then they
that makes so much.
It's not like throwing a football or baseball, you know.
That makes so much
women
sense.
Listen.
That made so much sense because she sat there and like she was like, she asked the kid who was trying to teach us, and she was like, okay, what do I need to do? Where do I put my feet? Do I need to like walk up? Do I need to run up? And he was like, no, do this, and this. And then he threw it, and she was like, oh, so just like that. And she was like, yeah. And I shit you not, she like bullseye. And I was like, what is this? She's like, it's because I think I like this. I was like, I hate you.
Yeah, can we go do something else? This is embarrassing.
Like, let's go back to what we were doing before.
That is a timeless like situation that happens any group I've ever coached. It was always like that with husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then that, and then like reading I read that article by, was it Nick Rothschild for Denver 7 News, and that you were featured in?
Oh yeah, really? I sent Kyle some videos from that day today. That ended up there. They ended up on TSN, and my boss was on CNN as well. There's a short little clip of me where they were talking about us, throwing axes from home because there was no other news when COVID first shut everything down. It was like, what can we find to talk about? People throwing axes in their garages.
A little foreshadowing for the end of this episode, because we actually talked about what she's talking about is something that I have mentioned even today. Was like, yo, we could bring something like that back and turn it into a little tournament amongst our listeners and this tribe shit we got going.
I'm out.
No, dude, you're in. Your wife's your teammate.
Oh,
she's gonna carry you.
Your wife's your teacher.
Yeah, listen to her, dude. That's what it's all about.
No,
building that bond.
That would be fun. No, like all jokes aside, that would be super fun. But
Yeah.
I didn't mean to distract.
Oh no, you're good.
I'll ask you what brought you. Yeah, what brought you to Colorado?
A lot of things. I think I just outgrew small town Missouri, and I kept trying to find different friend groups. And I was in Columbia, it's big, college town, but small town, everybody knows everybody, and it was just hard to kind of get away from the people that I needed to get away from. And so I just up, and one day it was March, and I think I'd been talking to Kyle, and he'd moved out there the year previous, and I said, I'm ready to just get out of here. And originally I wanted to go overseas, and I started looking at that, but it was a lot of paperwork. It was a lot of money. And so I was like, all right, let's make the first big move somewhere else. And my dad always loved the mountains. He liked going hiking and driving through them and hunting and stuff. And he'd passed away a few years earlier. So I was like, you know what? I always, I keep wanting to go to the mountains for a trip. Why don't I just go live there? And then every day is a vacation. You take off the day from work, go up in the mountains. And I talked to Kyle about it a little bit, and I decided I wanted to move in March, and by June 1st I was out there.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I just picked up and left and packed two Chevy Impalas full of my stuff. I took no furniture, and I hauled it out there. And Kyle found me a roommate. He was in Subway one day, right? Is that where you talked to Jennifer?
Yeah.
She was the leasing manager for the property, and he was like, you know anybody in this property that needs a roommate? My cousin's moving out here. And she's like, yeah, actually I do. And
she
he
texted
set
me
us
that
up
day. Like within 24 hours, she had a room lined up, and she was like, oh, I'll be there in 3 months or 2 months or whatever. And I'm like, all right. She lived in the same apartment complex.
Yep. And funny enough, we saw each other almost less living 30 feet away than we did living 3 states.
That's when I was working my ass off at that retirement center.
Yeah, and then I was trying to find a job because so I get out there. I was there for a few years. I'm a chronic server. I'm in the hospitality. I like to serve people. I was always serving tables, bartending. So I ended up getting this job, and I shoot my bow. So I found this archery place not far from my house and not far from the place I worked. So I'd go down there all the time. I'd shoot, and then on the way back there was this little bar on the corner, and I'd stop and have brunch or dinner or whatever, have a beer by myself. And I started making friends with the bartenders because that's just what you do when you're in the service industry. And that ended up being the bar where all the servers went after their shifts because they didn't want to drink at the bar that they worked at.
Okay.
So I leave one morning from shooting, and I'm going to brunch, and the bartenders asked me, so what were you doing? And I was like, oh, I was just, around the corner shooting. And he goes, at the axe throwing place. I was like, no, at the archery range. But what do you mean the axe throwing place? And I knew there was one in town, but I had thought it was way downtown, had to take an Uber to get down because you were going to drink and party. And going downtown Denver was a project.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you want, because you had to pay
from
for
where we
parking,
were.
and
Yeah, it was definitely, it was
the
an
suburbs
ordeal
out there. So they were like, no, that axe throwing place is literally like a half a mile down the road. And it ended up being technically in the same town we lived in Thornton. And so I was like, no way. And so I drove down there and saw it. And I was dating this guy at the time. And so I was like, we're going for a date night tonight. Like, we're doing that. So we went on the date, and I was really, really good at it. And he was really, really bad. And it really, really pissed him off that he couldn't figure it out.
Was it that dude that had barbecue sauce all over his shirt when I met him? I was like, I don't fucking like that dude.
The one with the red hair.
Oh, God. Yeah, I didn't like that guy.
He was even worse.
Yeah.
But I didn't have great taste in men. But they led me to
You figured it out. You figured it out.
I figured it out. I did. So the date did not go well, but the axe throwing did because I just absolutely got obsessed. So I went back a week later with some friends, and I had the same coach. His name was Tobias. He ended up being one of my mentors. Tobias is long beard, shaved head, dreads, tattoo. Well, actually, he didn't have tattoos at the time, but he was the Viking. Like that's what he looked like. And so I went back with some friends, and then I went back a week later again. And by that third time, Tobias goes, "You can just join the league, you know." And I said, "There's an axe throwing league," and I was like, "What is that?" And he goes, "It's like bowling, but with axe throwing." I said, "You shut the fuck up. Take my money right now."
Right.
And I pulled my credit card out because I was poor as shit. And I said, "So wipe it now." And I signed up for Summer League, and it just kept rolling. Throughout Summer League, whenever I'd go to new bars, you know, like, and I would pay attention to, you know, do they have to wear a uniform? What kind of tips are they making here? If I came to work here, would it be an easier, you know, money maker for me? Which is how I ended up at the bar that I was at the time. And so when I was at Bad X, I was always watching these coaches, like what kind of work are they doing and what kind of money are they making for it? And the job there is to go in like that axe coach with you and your wife, teach you how to throw axes and just have a good time with you. That is the job. And then
Right.
you just
And
clean up
also
at the end of
like
the
they
night.
sell themselves as like it's like a hospital, like you said, hospitality. It's not just
It
like,
is.
hey, here's how you throw the thing. Like if you
yeah,
do that,
It's
no one's gonna
entertainment.
want to hang out with you. You're also, you got to have that. I mean, I've been there, so I know, like, it's definitely like you want someone that's gonna teach you. That's also not just gonna be like, here's some axes, I'm gonna go over here and sit on my phone. I'd be like, dude, what the fuck are you
And there
getting
are
paid
some people
for?
like that, but the ones that are passionate are just like every group, you're in it with them. And so I realized that I wanted to do that as a second job because, you know, in Denver, like it was so hard to live on one income. So I kept bugging Tobias. I was like, "You guys hiring?" He goes, "No, not right now," because summer's slow season for them. So all through Summer League, it's 8 weeks long. Every week I'm asking, "Are you hiring? Are you hiring? Are you going to hire me yet? Can I work here yet?" And then by September, he was finally like, "Hey, we have a job for you." And I was like, "Done." So I started in September, and by November, I was making double what I was making at the restaurant. So I just quit the restaurant and I went full time as an axe coach. And I worked, that was my one and only job. I was able to live in Denver off of that one salary. It was insane. Because we made tips, and you make people happy when they get 3 beers because you don't want people drunk when they're axing, right?
Yeah.
You give them 3 beers and 2 hours of a good time, and they will tip you well. And if you take that audio bit, that is not going to sound great out of context.
Yeah, if they take, we don't. Nobody fucking do
the
that
shit out of that.
Say, fuck off my shit.
Ooh. So yeah, I just I bugged them till they gave me a job, and
Happens
then I
a
was
lot here, I bet.
so obsessed with it that I just kept moving up and moving up. You know, store manager, location manager, operations manager. And now I manage the leagues and tournaments for the World Axe Throwing League. So for the whole world.
The queen.
Dang.
The queen of axe throwing.
How long? Like so from inception, like when you first started working to now, like what's that timeline look like to now?
First started working was September of 2018.
Yeah.
By August of 2019, they had offered me the operations job. No, sorry, December of 19. They'd offered me the operations job with Waddle, and I was working on getting switched over to that. And then COVID hit, so everything shut down. They laid everybody off from the company, except for the customer service people who work out of the Philippines because they're a family of the owner. Which I'll get into that more about the quarantine league that we ran.
Yeah.
But everybody laid off because there was nothing to do. All the venues were shut. You know, we shut down the billing and everything. And then about May or June, everybody came back, and but it wasn't very busy. So I came on as an operations manager for Bad X. So they have 35-ish locations throughout Canada and the United States. And then I was also the operations manager for Waddle. So Mario Zalea is the owner of both companies. He owns Axe Throwing Venues, and he also owns a World Axe Throwing League. So there's a lot of crossover in those jobs.
Okay.
So I came back running both of those things. And then as COVID, you know, kind of going away, everything's vamping back up. Everything got really, really busy. And throughout 2020 and then early 2021, the World Axe Throwing League was just me. It was me and Mario and a couple other people, but the main bulk of like the customer service and managing the affiliates was me. And it got really overwhelming. Yeah. And that's the same time that I was moving in with Dustin. So I was moving across the country. My life was changing. So I ended up resigning from the job. You know, I trained up people to take my place, and I just, that time in my life, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I also was, when I was in in Colorado, I was living in a basement working from home, and it was not a great work environment. And then when I moved in with Dustin, we were in a 1-bedroom apartment. So there was no office space, and it was really overwhelming to work from home in that environment.
Mm.
And then I went out and I worked for a year out in the real world, and I hated it. I hated leaving the house. I hated the corporate structure.
People, fuck. Yeah, dude, I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. That's my little sister. I'm like, yep, I know it.
So December of 2021, I ended up reaching out to Mario because they did an ESPN broadcast for the World Championship that year, and it turned out really well. They did it down in Texas, and I just sent him a message like, hey, everything looked great. It was crazy to watch the broadcast from this side because I've always helped manage the broadcast. I've always been there. In 2020, I was actually a judge on TV on ESPN. 2019, I was in the background eating donuts.
I was gonna say she got
I can
famous
show
for
you that picture.
smashing the donut. I can show
Smashing
you.
donut on
I'll
ESPN.
probably find it here while you guys.
It's in my profile pictures on Facebook.
Okay.
So,
I'm
so I
on
just
your
told
shit
him,
right
you
now.
know, hey, it looked great, and he was like, you know what? I've been meaning to reach out to you. Like, I've talked to the team. We went ahead and we like built a full team. There's 4 or 5 people that work for the company now, like as a main core team. And he's like, and we really want you back. Like we want your experience and your management and stuff. And so I went back in March of 2021, and I just keep again climbing that ladder. Like I just keep going deeper and deeper because the more the World X League grows, like I've just got this crazy passion for it. And it's also neat to me that I'm the only person in the world that does my job. There is no other league and tournament manager of an axe throwing of an axe throwing league. So that's me right there. Right. And Dustin's right behind me, actually. With his little kissy face and his donut. we recreated those pictures at our wedding too.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, your journey is awesome as hell too. From taking a leap to go to Colorado to now doing that. Like that's a hell of a leap. I'm glad that paid off for you.
It brought me Dustin, brought me my family. I met him at an axe throwing tournament in Colorado, which was my first tournament. That I was working, and then that tournament right there with the donuts, we sat together and we bonded it while watching the ESPN and the donuts and being hungover. And then COVID hit, and we were friends on Facebook because of that donut tournament. COVID hit, Tiger King came out, and I posted something about like Tiger King is so crazy, I need to talk to somebody about it. Yeah. And he private messaged me on Facebook.
He's like, let me slide in there real quick.
No, he 100% 100%.
I love it.
And that's our story. And then our first tactical date was at an axe throwing tournament in Tulsa in October of 2020. So our first like physical interaction since December of 19 was in October, first date. And I was in the airport on the way home after just 3 days with him. And I told Kyle this when I first moved to Colorado. I was like, I'll never leave this state. Like, there's nothing that I'd ever want to leave for.
Same way too, though. Same way.
And then I'm in the airport after day 3 with him, and I called my mom and I said, I'm moving to Florida in the next 6 months. And I moved to Florida in the next 4.
Holy shit.
Yeah, she came to my house. She was like, I gotta tell you something. I was like, oh, you're pregnant. She's like, no.
Not yet. No.
I'm moving. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, where are you going? She's like, Colorado. Well, that's the way you tell someone you're pregnant, dude. I hadn't seen her in a while. So it was funny. But no, she wasn't pregnant at the time. She had fallen head over heels for someone for which I have still not met, but that's all right. He's a Navy guy. He's still in the Navy. So
yeah.
He's
and
busy.
I swore I would never date anybody in the military. And then the first one I married.
He's in the Navy. It's not the same. No, I'm just kidding. I'd actually love to chat with him on here because he'd probably have a different he'd probably get along. Like I sent you Eddie Lowry's episode. He could probably get a little bit out of that and maybe hear some similarities. Actually, I don't remember. I'm sure they were all posted at the same spot, but not around the same time. How long has he been in? Your husband, Dustin?
Since he was 18. So he's going on year 12, I think. 11 or 12.
He's going to be a lifer?
Yeah. He's going for 20, but they could tell him, to fuck off and go to 23 or 26 for a chief, I think.
Ooh.
I'm probably wrong.
What was your
Every time he tells me something,
Here,
I can't
hang on.
contain it.
Before we go on, I want to pop this up here. So, Trevor from Anheuser Designs, which I posted earlier, we got some patches coming. He's hooking it up with that. So he says, would love to hang out, guys. Hope you guys love the shirts thus far. Got to get up as early as I'm in training for a mountain bike challenge, and I haven't really rode a bike in 30 years. Patches proofs coming soon. So I'll be able to, we'll do that probably tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, we'll share that. And also, I know, KZ, you had mentioned that link for what he's got going on with that mountain bike challenge that he mentioned too.
Oh yes, it's yeah, I'll cover that, Rooks. It's so Trevor's company Anheuser Designs, they're holding they're doing the mountain bike challenge, and it's all the proceeds is to help raise funds for kids' cancer treatment, which is super dope. And I'll put this up here again later before the show's over, but this is the that's the link right there on the bottom of the screen of greatcyclechallenge.com/teams/team Anheuser Designs, which is the team.
We're so legit, dude.
which is the team that he's part of. If you go to Anheuser Designs Facebook page, you can click that link right there and help raise some funds for kids' cancer treatment. Super dope, super cool, and the shirts that he made are fucking badass.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, this is our exclusive shirt maker. We're gonna get all our shit from this guy. He is absolutely tribe, and we will catch up with him sooner or later. But as for now, he's just been so damn busy making shirts, and he's in the disc golf world too. So if you guys didn't disc golf and need some shirts, hit this guy up, man. Tell him we sent you. He'll take care of you for sure. Also, our boy James, as always, shout out to you, brother. We appreciate you always coming on and being here with us, man. And I know you like hanging out with us, and we like you being here. We got to get you back on too.
I really want to go mountain biking.
Mountain biking's cool. You know who else is a big mountain biker is Gary McKenzie.
Oh yeah, that dude.
Gary, he's getting out in like fucking 3 weeks now.
Hell yeah! So he's on the opposite end.
Yeah.
Dannielle, what was I going to ask? Well, what was your first, and if you remember, what was your first initial reaction to like being introduced to the military life as a civilian?
Like I said, I told myself I would never date anybody in the military, and I thought it was just innocent flirting, talking with Dustin, because I was in Colorado, he's in Florida.
Yeah,
didn't think anything.
What are you really
gonna
do, right?
This is never, nothing's ever gonna happen. And then that date happened, and then I was just like immediately like, well,
whatever I got to do
in this now. Like, so it wasn't too bad when I first got to Jacksonville because he's still on shore duty. That first kind of initial year, and then it starts getting a little more real. He's like, well, I'm going back to sea duty. We're gonna have to move, and I'm just getting settled in Jacksonville with friends, with a job, with our apartment, and like I liked living in Florida, which is crazy to say coming from living in Colorado to living at the beach. So then we moved to Norfolk, wasn't bad, and I didn't really have a lot of interaction with it in Florida other than meeting his other Navy friends, and a lot of his friends became my friends. It's really hitting me now because deployment's coming up, and I was mentally prepared for deployment next year, but underways start this November. So like from November to April, he's home for 36 days because of underways. So my first, I guess, real experience with it is when he made Chief back in September. Yeah. And Chief season is 6 weeks of he's not home, or he gets home at 11 o'clock and then he has to get back up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go do PT. And so I was very, very postpartum. I was only 5 weeks, I think. And so he prepared me for it, which is something that I've asked him to do, of like, if something's going to happen, tell me so I can mentally be ready for it. But that was, as a first experience, that was hell.
Terrible.
And it was almost, I've heard it the saying, I'm not sure I fully agree with it, but it's almost worse than deployment because you expect them home every night. Ooh. Versus deployment, they're not going to be for 2 or 3 weeks or months or whatever. So that was the hard part of Chief season, was I know that he's supposed to come home at some point, but I don't know when. And then I don't know when, how long he's going to be here, if he's even going to have time to hang out with us because he's got homework and stuff. So, one of my big things that I'm struggling with is there's a lot of acronyms in the military, and I don't know what they stand for, and I don't remember them. I'm like the thing with all the letters. What was it?
It's just which one?
Which one?
But that's good though. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not for you to memorize. So go. Don't
Has
waste.
their different
Yeah.
acronyms. I don't know.
You just got to tell them like, hey man, slow down, civilian.
Yeah,
I'm not remembering that
100%.
shit.
I'm not remembering that useless. My brain is.
I tell you, I brain dumped.
Military spouse.
I brain dumped them, but I tell you what, everything does still turn into acronyms. Like when I was like running it, I'm like Veteran Chat Project. Me and him both are like VCP. We're like, yes, send it. And it was honestly just like we're gonna try Veteran Chat Project at first, and now we were like, well, we're just gonna stick with it, even though we don't like we're not bringing on just veterans anymore. And I think it's fucking awesome what it's turning into, and I'm stoked to have family on. And I know we kind of brushed over it real quick, but before we move forward, I do want to pay a little respect to your dad because he was a fucking awesome man. And I just, yeah. So, I mean, I know for sure he would be damn proud of what you're doing. And I just wanted that to be recorded. And I want you to know that that's like truly from the heart because he's one of my
I know that
uncles.
if he was here and I have this job, he would just be blown out of the water. He would think it was the coolest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah.
He'd be like, you got a job doing what? And they pay you to do that? And he would have loved it. He'd have had a target in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have been like, how many axes can I buy? Or like, can I take this one out of the shed and throw it?
He'd be making you custom ones too in the garage and the shed. He'd be learning how to do that.
He'd be all about it.
So then the quarantine, the Quaddle, that's right?
Quaddle.
That's Quarantine Axe Throwing League. That's what that was.
Yeah.
So basically, for those that let's just see if I remember what it was. Like that you guys started it during COVID when it was just you and your partner that was doing it, right? Mario, you said.
I actually cannot take credit for Quaddle. I competed in it, but I did not create it. So it's actually my boss right now. His name is Mike Morton, and his friend Tristan. I say friends, but they're like soul brothers. They came up with the inception of it. They're really dedicated league members up in Burlington, Ontario, which is Mario's home base. And we were just getting ready to start the first season of the year. COVID shut everything down. Second season of the year, but COVID shut everything down, messed with everybody's leagues, and we needed something to do. So Mike and Tristan took it upon themselves to create the Quarantine Axe Throwing League. They put out target specs for people to build targets in their garages or their backyards, or some people put them in their basements. Some people put them in their living rooms. And so what we would do is in a regular league week, you would play 4 games, and each game is 10 throws. So they would pair us up for 8 games a week. So we shortened the season to 4 weeks. And you would get a list of who you were against, and you'd go find them on Facebook, or you could submit your phone number if you wanted somebody to get you on phone number. You could submit your Facebook or Instagram, and then we'd have a video call, and we would each throw in our garage or backyard, and we'd just self-score because it was all unofficial. It's a gentleman's agreement that you're not cheating, and we didn't have any issues with cheating. But you just throw your games and you record your scores on paper, and then you would just submit your scores to the website. And this is where I want to come back and talk about the customer service people out in the Philippines that were working for Waddle at the time. Mario, out of his own pocket, kept them on and paid them so that they could manage all the score input. We would submit the pieces of paper, the scores to them, and they would manage putting them into our app, our scoring program, so that you could watch, your games on live. And they were managing the app and stuff to be able that, so they could provide for their families. And also so that we could have the Quarantine Axe Throwing League. So it was really great of him to keep them on, even though there was no revenue coming in for his businesses.
That's awesome.
I definitely want to drop a line on that.
That's tribe shit right there. Cool. That's where if you've been listening to the show, we talk about this tribe shit, dude. The tribe shit is when you go out of your way to take care of people because it's the right thing to do. That's tribe shit. That's the kind of shit that the world needs more of. So yeah, dude, shout that motherfucker out every time.
That's what Mario does. And this is a job, and I know that there's a line of it's your job and then your life, but axe throwing has ingrained so much of itself into my life that the people I work with are my family. They really are. And that's one of the things that keeps me coming back every day is that I get to see them, even if it's on a video chat, but we do trips and work trips and stuff, and I get to see them, and they just like the lights of my life.
That's
Every
like
day.
that's like an old time saying, like do what you love, like love what you do and do what you love, kind of. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's so dope. That's cool.
And I think that's kind of why I thought axe throwing, and I thought like her tribe that she had with that whole thing, I thought that kind of would transfer over pretty well, because I mean of the bonds that she built with that. And then even something like that sparked in my head today, because KZ, how I am. I'm like, oh, let's do this, and it's like we're doing that now. Like, so
good idea.
Kyle's the idea guy.
A fucking good idea fairy lives in your brain.
He never gets out, dude. Stay fucking here. Don't leave, motherfucker. I need you. Without you, I'm nothing. Without me, you are nothing. But no, like, so like if we were to start something like that, like amongst our listeners, amongst our crowd, do you think, obviously we'd have to see if anyone would, because I mean it's pretty easy to build a target. You don't have to be a craftsman to build an axe throwing target.
We actually have a resource on our website. If you just go to Google and you type in how to build an axe throwing target, the first thing that pops up is the World Axe Throwing League blog. And it gives you specs. It gives you all the tools and supplies you need. It gives you a PDF breakdown. It gives you a video of Mike himself actually building it. And Kyle, I actually sent you a video of putting my target back together when I got back to Colorado.
I got all your videos here. We'll go through them here in a second too.
So you can follow those specs. You can also just put it in the studs in your walls in your garage. You can put post up. There's all kinds of different ones you can make.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah. So right here.
So this is the design that Randy helped me build in Mom's garage.
This is so cool.
Right?
Yep.
Oh,
and then that box, that gray box, you can get the PDF sent to your email. You can buy a starter kit that's got the stencils, the markers.
Holy cow, it's all measured and like literally everything you need.
List.
Dude, that's fucking cool.
Stencil. That's what for the make sure like the boards, the points are the same size.
Yep. We need to relink it there, but there's actually a starter kit that's stencil and markers together. So it's like a bundle deal.
That's badass.
I'm building one.
Right? Let's do it, man. I got all the shit in my garage right now.
I'm building one, dude. That's
the only barrier here would be you don't want to throw on the pine that you build it out of. So you've got to find somewhere with cottonwood, poplar, white ash, white pine would be the best. But it's still really hard, especially if you keep it outside. But if you have any kind of axe throwing venue near you, you can probably just hit them up, because almost all axe throwing venues use cottonwood now. And just be like, hey, can I buy like 5 cottonwood boards for my home target? They're probably more than willing. Most are.
Cottonwood boards.
They're really wet.
Badass. So they don't chip up as quick.
Wet wood is good wood.
Ooh, that's don't do that.
I don't know if that's a tip, but I'm writing that down anyway.
Yeah, that sounds like not a tip, but whatever.
Wet wood equals good wood.
Good wood. Yep. Got it. Check 'em.
I can't wait to stick these notes up on my later.
Ooh, just
I put notes up on. I put my notes for every episode on my wall at home. So this is gonna be funny to look back on. Wet wood, good wood.
There you go. That's what she said. I was waiting for it. But yeah, James said, "Oh, great! Now it's one more thing for me to build."
I can see James getting in some axe throwing for real.
Hey, so we got 3 right now. 4.
What
No, she can't play. She's a ringer.
I'm not though. I went and got pregnant, lost my center of gravity, and now I throw 3s.
No.
That's all I 3s and 4s. I can't hit the
really
5
after you got pregnant, you just went away.
I was 6 or 7 months pregnant when we had the summer league last year, and I could not balance myself to throw. And then anytime we've thrown after that, I just can't find my throw again. Like I can hit it a couple times, switch my axe, hit it a couple times, but consistently I can't do it anymore.
Dang.
Yeah, I can make it stick. That's about all I got.
Here, let's.
That's better than me.
Let's go share
Um,
screen. Go ahead.
Is there like a specific type of axe that you need to buy?
It depends
Good
on your
question.
throw. All the axes the World Axe Throwing League sells are made for throwing. They're thin profile. You don't want to go chop a tree with them because they'll break. But they're made for throwing. And it depends on your throw. Some people like a lighter axe, like me. I throw the Ace of Spades. Some people like a heavier one, like the
She's got
Butcher,
some
the
sick
Corporal.
axes, dude.
So you
We've
can buy
got
axes on that
probably-
that Waddle website.
Yeah, we sell axes, and then we also have the World Knife Throwing League, and we sell knives as well.
That's
We could have a
sick,
whole nother.
dude. Let's
We could have
go.
a whole nother episode about that if you want, because I
I
also
do,
help manage
actually.
the knife.
Because I think that's
Can't touch
awesome,
around
dude.
that
I mean,
stuff.
like, you can't tell me that this isn't like right up our alley here. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that there's something there to it, and at least some sort of something we could do to build.
Yeah. Have you ever thrown axes, Kyle?
I have. We went once. Shannon was really good at it. I had just gotten my whole my stitches out of my face after that dog bit my face off. Oh, Bubba, my poor baby. But so I was kind of out of it, but I was doing all right, I guess. I listened. I figured, and by the end of it, I was like one-handing them. Like, I mean, it's if you do it right, it is easy. It's not easy to hit like precise, but it's easy to get it to the board and stick. I'll say that. Like, then if you can get it to the board and stick, and then you can work on basically getting your aim down. But just literally staying with it straight forward and over the top. Whoosh. It's so cool, dude. None of this shit. And you see that one video of that girl on TikTok that, like, when axe throwing kind of like,
we're not going to talk about it. We're
Well,
not going to bring it up. No, it's bad for the sport. It's a bad
that's what I'm
for
saying.
axe
Like,
throwers. We're not bringing it up. We're not talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
That video
Like,
just needs to die.
It needs to, because that's not what it's about. Like, yes, dude. I want to start a rage room. This is a good one.
A lot of axe throwing places are also rage rooms, actually.
See,
are they really?
See what I mean? There's business ideas. Who's doing?
How was that?
James, tell James, if you've got a weak wrist, you can wear a brace. But axe throwing's all on your shoulders. You don't want to flick your wrist. You want to keep it whatever feels comfortable for you, and then you can compensate with your shoulder.
It's a chop, just like the Braves chop. Oh, they do that for a reason.
I remember. This like I did
listen.
It was a stress relief.
100%.
Like the moment it stuck to the board, I think what was I doing wrong? I mean, I was doing everything wrong, but like when I finally got it was when I forgot his name. He came over to me because it just kept bouncing off the target.
Like, hey man, you suck. You want to learn?
And he's like, you're doing everything good. Just back up like 2 steps. And I backed up 2 steps, and then it stuck. And I was like, oh my God, yeah.
It's like this euphoric, especially like when you get it to the center part where you're supposed to hit. It's just this 5 years later, over 5 years, and I hit that bullseye, and I still feel a little piece of stress, go away.
Yeah.
And then you pick up the big axe, or you start hitting trick shots or whatever. And especially
the big axe is cool.
Knife throwing is really, really satisfying for me because it's just like this little thud, because knife throwing is a little bit harder, a little more precise. And what you want, Randy? What?
Rando. What's up, Rando? Yeah.
I said 5 years later, it still lets that stress out, and it's just I can't even describe the joy that axe throwing brings to me, and I know a lot of people.
To circle around back to what you said before, just being an employee, it's like at axe throwing, like you can tell people love it, because I could tell that kid, like I keep saying kid, young man, like that was helping us out. Like once he saw that our group got it, he was rooting us on for a bit, and then he went over to the lane next to us, and we noticed that he brought like 4 different types of axes in size and like shape, and he just went to town. And I kind of stopped and just let my wife have fun. I just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
he was like
and
throwing an underhand, like overhand. I was like, wow, this is cool.
We do all day. That's what we get paid. People pay us really good money to do that, which is absolutely insane. I think the world's crazy that there's enough money to pay me to do what I do from home, right? But it's
Right.
like you're
Are
a
you guys
coach
hiring?
and you
I need a
have that.
job.
Yeah, you have that mentality of wanting to coach people and wanting to make other people better, which
Yeah.
is, another sign of a good coach. And I just I built a lot of confidence with it. Like I was not a very confident person when I first started working there,
Yeah.
but you had to be, especially when you get a group of guys that come in, they do the macho thing. They don't want to listen to the female coach, especially if I wore makeup or did my hair. I actually stopped wearing makeup and doing my hair because they wouldn't take me as serious.
Wow.
Yeah. So they, you show them that you can, you know what you're talking about, and then they'll listen to you. But off the bat, a lot of guys wouldn't. So I had to get that level of confidence to speak out and, tell them from the beginning, like, this is how you do it. And when you do it wrong, I'm here to correct you. And like what I tell you goes, safety wise and throwing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Safety. Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned quickly to build my confidence, and that translated into my personal life I slowly started dating better people. I slowly started getting better friends because I now had the backbone to stand up to these people in my life that
Hell yeah.
probably
Like,
weren't the
you know
best.
what? Yeah, like, you know what? You shouldn't be around me. So fucking.
Yeah. So Axering
Fuck off.
also breeds joy. It breeds confidence. I've seen a lot of other people in the community start out and start building their confidence, getting better and getting better. And now they're just like the best versions of themselves. Like I've known these people for 4 or 5 years, and I've watched them grow as well.
That's fucking awesome. I love that shit.
The community, the Axering community, like if you get into it and you start traveling, I go to a tournament and I'm with 200 of my best friends. I know everybody there.
yeah.
And if I don't know you, I'm going to shake your hand and say, welcome to your first tournament. And we're going to be best buds by the end of the weekend.
Battle, you want to start an axe throwing team and start going to these tournaments, dude? So we can get some jerseys made by Anheuser Designs and go fucking rock it. Have some people meet up. Have your wife come be a ringer for us, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
There you go.
But
she was sitting there like, because there's a bullseye target, or at least where we went, there was a target bullseye, obviously, and then there were like I guess like red, like other circles around where you could hit for points, I guess.
Yep.
And she was like, I wonder if I can get that little star. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
So
Dude,
a lot of we call those kill shots. They're 1.5-inch kill shots up on the top right and left.
Yeah.
And they are much harder to hit.
Holy shit.
I was just over here looking through the axes. These are probably what I'm gonna start with right here because they're on sale. Hey, shout out World Axe Throwing League. If you guys want to sponsor us, those are for sale.
Those hawks are actually not legal for competition. They're just for fun.
Well, that's fine. They're training.
That brings up a good point. Like, what are what's the traditional like axe measurement? Like, is like so you can't? Are you able to like make your own axe and bring it to a tournament?
It's on it's on the rules page. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. I want to say the max is 3 pounds. Blade can't be bigger than 4 inches or 3.5. So there's a min and a max.
Okay.
And then,
Dude, these
how
big
long
axes
it can
are
be.
sick.
Any shorter than 12, any longer than 19 as a hatchet. Big axe has their own specs. So a lot of these wooden handled axes from the World Axing League, they meet those specs. These tactical throwing, they don't. They were just for fun. But you do need those.
I mean, they look cool as
I
shit.
need that.
Yeah, so you can make your own axe at home. You can take a really popular axe in the community is the Plum National. They stopped making them, I think, in the 50s or 60s, so they're really popular. You can buy a Plum National head for $400 or $500 and then spend a couple hundred on a hang.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So Dustin bought me a Plum National and let me design the handle before we were even dating. This was like June. And he messages me and he said, Goose, 81 Axes, he does like some of the best handles in the community. He said, Goose is doing a sale on plums. I'll buy you one for your birthday. And I was like, my birthday's not till November. And he's like, great. Goose will have plenty of time to hang it. So I picked the head, I picked my handle, and it's this beautiful, I can't remember what kind of wood it is, but it's got this purple resin inlay in the middle. And it looks like a galaxy in there because he made it like milky purple. And it is a beautiful axe. And I know he spent so much money on it. And we weren't even dating at the time. I should have known in June. But I was ignoring it. Maybe. Make your own axes. You can buy them used. You can buy straight stock. Do whatever you want. A lot of people buy the stock and then they replace the handle with something they like.
That's cool. It sounds like
I wish I was at home. I'd go pull my 100-pound bag of axes out. And just
I
show
know you
That'd be
would.
dope.
That's what I was saying. Like, dude, she's got some dope axes, and I probably haven't seen half of them.
No, I
I
don't
just-
even know if I know what else in there.
It's just pumping me up. But I know the one locally. We won't say their name because we don't free advertise like that. You said not to necessarily mess with here in Fargo or here and where I'm at. We won't even do that because it's too local. So like I'll have to start my own or just like get what's been real big lately. I think I sent that message to you as like an axe throwing trailer or like a thing like you could bring to parties basically.
Trailer's such a good idea because you've got low overhead. You get somebody to build it out, and I'm pretty sure Waddle has a certified builder for that, like a contact to help you build it. But yeah, you go out, get hired out. I actually, when I was in Jacksonville, when I was taking that year off, I worked the axe throwing trailer for one of my friends. And I just go out to taco places or taco festivals or private birthday parties. We'd park it in the driveway and I'd teach them to throw for the hour, 2 hours, whatever they paid for. And they'd pay, the flat rate, and then they'd just throw me cash at the end. And I made a lot of money doing that too.
That's
Those
probably my
those
next
taco
venture.
festivals were fun.
That's cool.
I got a trailer sitting right now, dude. I'm gonna fucking build that bitch out myself tomorrow morning. It's in the books. Need a pen.
Need a
cool.
pen, need some spec.
It sounds like not it sounds like you said it, but like you meeting your husband through axe throwing, and like that's a love that you guys both share to this day. Am I right? That's awesome. That's
It
so
is.
cool.
We don't. I'll be honest. We don't throw a lot together. We've been throwing once in the last year, but I was pregnant, had the baby.
Yeah.
He's chief season and everything, and the closest axe throwing place to us, unfortunately, is like 45 minutes away.
Oof.
And if you've ever lived in Norfolk, it's the worst traffic I've ever experienced in my life.
Oh, is that
There's
where you're at?
bridges,
I go to work
bridges
there
and
all the time.
tunnels and
That place
traffic
sucks.
from the bridges and the tunnels. It's terrible. So we live all the way out in Suffolk, and the axe throwing place is all the way out in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're
But
talking about the
I
traffic.
think I've convinced Mario to open a bad axe on our side of the river. So like Portsmouth. So it'd be like 20 minutes from my house.
Hey,
so
call
he
your
gets that
boy,
open, and then
tell
we're
him.
going all the time.
Tell them we could take over West Fargo area right now. I will pull together the money somehow, some way. We will open up a bad axe Fargo.
What Danielle, I know I think I've written down like 6-7 tips, but what would be like the key tip you would give to anyone walking into an axe throwing like place for the first time?
Listen to your coach.
What's that?
Listen to your coach.
Listen to your coach. There it is.
But if you don't have a coach, like if it's a place that doesn't have a coach or doesn't have good coaches, because that does happen,
Yeah.
they just hire people to work there and they don't care.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Don't
Started.
what am I trying to say? If you can't figure it out, like have the person with you watch you and kind of have them,
Okay.
look, because it's all about rotation. So
Mhm.
like with your thing, you were too close, you took 2 steps back. The
Yeah.
axe rotates once in the air. You don't have to force it to rotate because your momentum throws it. So once you let go of that, if you're too close, you're probably bouncing off the top of it. If it's bouncing off, you're either too close or too far away. Like that's the main thing. You got to find the right spot. So if you don't have a coach, if you have a coach, listen to your coach. If you don't have a coach, whoever you're with, see if they can't help you figure it out. Have them watch your throw, watch in the air, that kind of thing. And then same with you watching them. But I would hope that wherever you go, that you have a good coach, because bad coaches are far and few between. Like good coaches, they're there for years because they love what they do, and
Yeah.
it's just
So-
a very rewarding job.
It's a passion thing. That's
It
cool.
is. It's insane.
That's cool. Kyle, what were you showing? Was
I was
that her?
showing some of the targets. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to click on it while you guys were
Yeah.
talking, but
So I built Randy, my mom's fiance, helped me build the target in their garage when the Quaddle thing happened, and those are my cottonwood boards that I got from the local place. And then I tore the whole thing down, put it in the back of my 4Runner, drove back back to Colorado 2 months later, and then set it up in my driveway, and we threw on it there.
Axe out COVID.
So there's a picture with me and a big guy. I think it's the next one. His name's BK. He was actually my arch nemesis in leagues. He was one of my
Oh.
best friends, but arch nemesis because we always got paired up together, and we were very close in our throwing skill. So this day we broke a world record. We had the most people throwing at a target simultaneously. So we all logged into a Google Meet. We broke a Guinness World Record. I mean, we set it, I guess. We didn't break it.
Right.
But we had
That's still dope.
406 people throughout 5 countries. And we counted down and we all threw at the target.
That's sick.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
tribe. That's as tribe shit as it gets. That's
We gotta
cool.
do that
And
again.
then, yeah, this is me. I'm trying to get them to do it. I'm trying to get them to open up the world records again, but we keep getting distracted by these big ESPN tournaments. Oh, darn.
Yeah. Shucks, right?
Oh, shucks.
It'll just have to wait till it's till the
ESPN.
next one's like in the thousands or the tens of thousands of people across, more countries doing it. But yeah, that's dope. I mean,
Bro, dude. Oh,
just pinging it, ping, ping, money. No, I'm gonna build one, dude. I'm gonna piss my neighbors off so bad.
So if you watch this video, it's called a V formation. It's a good practice. Oh, there it dropped. It's good practice for competitive. So you start on one kill shot, and then you go to the bullseye, then you go to the other kill shot. Because in a game, you have to be ready to throw a bunch of bullseyes and then go through a kill shot. So you want to be able to switch back and forth really easy. So that V pattern, you do sets of like 15, take a break, do another set of 15, take a break. Just like doing reps or conditioning in any other sport.
Trap workout right there for sure.
Do you know how great my arms were when I was coaching and throwing?
I do. I remember you used to post the pictures doing that, and I'm like, God damn, she's
between
bullshit.
the throwing, changing the cottonwood boards, because each cottonwood board is 30 pounds when it comes off the pallet. And we got to unload a pallet of like 150 boards. And then sweeping. The damn mats in axoring venues are so hard to sweep. Between the sweeping and the changing of the boards, I was ripped. Ripped.
Heck yeah.
Didn't have to work out. Didn't have to go to the gym.
Dude, I could watch that video all day. That's
Just
cool as shit. That is cool as shit.
I don't have a chance to go back to my old trick shot videos because they're all over the place, but you can just scroll way back on my Instagram if you ever want to go on a deep dive.
So I'm curious what the way that board's set up. So like, is there is a point system when you're playing like the actual match?
So the way my board was set up wasn't a full target. Those 2 outside bullseye boards. That was just because I didn't want to waste a whole target because I'm not throwing it once. I'm just throwing at the bullseye. So you have a full board. It's full target's 5 boards. Center is 6 points, and it is 1.5 inches, just like a kill shot. Next ring out is 5, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, and then your kill shots are worth 8. You got 10 throws in a game, and you can go for 2 kill shots. You can call them whenever you want. You could go throws 1 and 2. You can go 9 and 10. You can go 2 and 5. Whatever you want to do.
You have to call them?
Is 64. You have to call them before you throw. So you have to tell the judge, the lane judge is scoring. I'm going for the kill shot. And then it locks your call in. Okay. And then you have to go for it. And if you miss the kill shot, you get 0 points.
Okay.
If you hit a 2, you get 0 points if you miss it. Or you can go for straight bullseyes and go for a 60. But if you hit both those kill shots, it gives you 64.
Holy shit.
And then if you really want to get
high
fun with
reward.
Tournaments, they play spicy dice. So a lot of Axors are big nerds, and they brought their D&D dice.
D&D
and
dice.
So before the game, they'll roll the 2 dice, and those dice will tell them what throws they're going to go for their kill shots on.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so if it's 1 and 2, you got to call them 1 and 2, and you do it.
That's
cool. Man, that's cool.
Yeah. Spicy dice is fun.
Man.
Yeah.
I also wanted to touch on, you guys were talking about disc golf earlier, and I meant to say something. There's a lot of crossover in the disc golf and axoring world. Probably 80% of axors are also golfers, are also discers.
Nice.
Anytime they go to a tournament, they scope out the best disc golf course in the area. They've been getting a lot more people into it. My boss had never done it till this year, and he went with another of our coworkers who's really into it. And he's got a literal garage full of discs.
I do too.
And he just gave Mike his whole set.
Yeah, I could probably hook anybody I went with
awesome.
up. Yeah, I could bring enough discs to hook up the whole party. Y'all could just fucking throw my shit. But no, dude, that's awesome. I feel like I want to try to get into a tournament and play now. I don't know. I just need more things. I just need more things to do disc golf tournaments. I'm still playing disc golf tournaments, so I'm gonna play one in 2 weeks, in a month. Play one here in Fargo, SummerSlam.
How
Well, if
easy
you want
is
to get
it?
into an axe throwing tournament, you let the league and tournament manager know. I'll tell you where all the best ones are.
We'll find which one's close to me and soon.
Oh,
Anything in the city?
Titantown Throwdown is happening in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Only problem is it is the same weekend as the air show, so all the hotels are sold out.
I got a camper.
There you go.
I got a truck too.
Titantown's actually going to be a little bit smaller of a top tier tournament as well, just because of the air show. And summer's a slow time for tournaments. People are a little tapped out. Their trips with their family and stuff. But Rachel Rowell owns the venue, and she's a really good friend of mine, and she's just an awesome person. She puts on a really good tournament every year.
When you said top tier axe throwers, are we there? Are y'all there yet? As far as like we have professional axe throwers now.
We do have professional axe throwers, but not to the point where you can make a living axe throwing. Nobody
Gotcha.
is getting their winnings for the whole year and making that their income.
Gotcha.
That's actually the next step that I've been working on personally, of looking to the future, 5-year plan for the company is how do we make it to right now you are paying to play. How do we make it that you get paid to play?
Legitimize it.
What are the steps that we need to get? And ESPN's a great thing doing that. Ocho, we're on the Ocho every year when they host that. I don't know if you ever watch the days that they do the Ocho. Yeah. We're just doing a lot of things. We got some social media marketing companies coming in. We've had a couple like daytime television shows reach out to have us come on and throw with them. Just a lot of things going on that this year specifically that have really just elevated us that hopefully next year will pay off. We have an official beer sponsor. Wait for it. It's PBR.
Dope.
Yeah.
Of
So
course
Pabst
it is.
Blue
That's
Ribbon is the official beer of the World Axe Throwing League. That just happened a few months ago, and that's super exciting. They're sponsoring our Pro-Am Championship in November. So we're doing a professional division and an amateur division and a couple new games that we've never debuted before. So that'll be super, super fun.
Hell yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I could see that because I don't know if you said or someone said it in that interview with in Colorado, when y'all are talking about just trying to do something during COVID, and like trying to build axe throwing as big as bowling is. And I think that's a realistic goal in my opinion.
Nowadays,
that
for
has
sure.
always been from the day I started as a coach. I was like, I want this to be the next bowling. I want people to bring their kids to do this on Wednesday nights. Like, that is my goal. It's a household thing.
Heck yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that too. Like I said, if there's any way I can, and I'm not saying it because we're on our show, but like I mean it. If there's any way I can contribute or help out in growing it with this small platform that we have, like I want to do that for sure, because I think I'm gonna start doing some more axe throwing.
Man,
I know I said I'm like looking at the axes. I'm like, fuck, don't do it.
Now
Don't
I feel bad now just for I feel bad for I didn't put it out, but it just just kind of laughing and when my wife was talking because like after we went to like some I don't know why we were at some CrossFit competition, and we were like we're in between there was like 2-hour break, and then downstairs was an axe throwing place, and we went down there to grab like just to sit down and relax, and then that's when we saw the axes, and my wife did it and she fell in love with it. And for like the next few weeks she was like, hey, I think there's like axe throwing leagues I could join. And I just blew it. I feel so bad now
Absolutely
looking back.
should.
So I'm that's definitely.
Don't worry, her mom's texting her right now. Like, listen, your husband is admitting that he's wrong on live TV.
Definitely. Yeah, that's definitely a conversation I need to reignite when I get back home.
Yeah.
Where you live at?
South Carolina.
I'd have to look at our map and see who's nearest you for the Wano venue, but I'll look at it after and I'll send it to Kyle for him to send you.
Sweet.
I'll get you a good place because
nice.
Well, I'll put you
500
in the Facebook group too.
In the 500 affiliates.
Yeah, throughout the world.
We have a guests Facebook group that we do. It's like a private one. It hasn't really picked up yet, but like as people start getting in there, you know, you sharing resources with each other, that kind of thing. So I add you to that. And then yeah, that way you could just share it with I mean, everybody else who's been on so far is in there too. Well, if I've done it, I update it like weekly. I need to start getting on there.
If I remembered to do it.
Yeah. I be smoking. I ate it before, you know. Shout out to Mystic Labs. We eat your edibles before every fucking episode.
Shout out, we eat you.
Shout out, we be eating that shit.
Did you see me walk into the bathroom before we started?
No, you're just like, oop,
that's why I walked in the bathroom. I was like, oh look, okay.
I went upstairs. Well, like I went upstairs. And I'm like, oh, I had 2 of you already. Like, nah, fuck it. I'll just eat some more because they're Delta 8 and they're Delta Delicious. Yeah. Mystic Labs. Shout out Mystic Labs. Shout out fucking my boy Josh Krejci for this dope ass shirt I got today. This bare knuckle fighting championship shirt.
Hell yeah.
I just realized earlier today also that Josh Krejci's episode is now considered the lost episode because we never posted it. That's my bad. Yeah, and I don't know if it ever finished uploading. So we're gonna have to figure that out, or we're gonna have to get him back on.
I'm just getting back on. This platform is a lot better.
I want him to be back on anyway. We could probably do it from his iPhone 6.
That's not fair. He's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, he might be. He'll hear it.
He'll just take that aggression out in the ring.
Yeah, he's gonna fuck somebody up for that. So, but no.
Dannielle, do you still have time? I mean, you know, being a military wife now, I mean, I know that's not your identity, but, you know, being a military spouse and then, you know, being a mother also, do you have time to throw now?
I think if we lived close to the venue, we would, but it's like a whole thing to get a babysitter or to plan around nap time, to go out to Virginia Beach and throw. And leagues happen on Sundays, 4 seasons a year. Each season is 8 weeks. But I work till 5 o'clock every day. We get our weekends off, and I don't want to spend half my Sunday also trying to work around a nap time and a cranky baby kind of thing. So at this point, we're just not in the space. Like, it's not the time in life.
Yeah.
You know, like there's certain things, like right now, I'm not really doing any hobbies or anything. It's not the time in life. I've got a 10-month-old.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Priorities.
So I'm still very much obsessed with it. But it's just, I think if we had a venue closer, we would. And I really would. But right now,
what's the place in Virginia Beach called?
Tribal Axe. And it is an awesome place. Anytime you're out there, they've got a full kitchen, full bar, 13 or 15 lanes or something. They sell axes there if you want to buy one. They sell knives.
I need to go check that out because we have an office.
It's right next to a gun range too. Like they're connected in the building. So you could go throw axes and you could take your rifle in and do some shooting.
So the one in Fargo here is no good, right?
No, it's a good place. It's a good place. There's more than that place. There's a couple places in Fargo that are affiliated. I'll have to send you the list. But there's more than just that venue. But they're a good venue.
Hell yeah. I definitely want to get in.
They don't like me.
Well, your family, your tribe. They don't fuck with my tribe. We don't fucking spend money in their establishment.
They are hosting a big tournament into July.
I just
so you
my
know.
shit up.
They're hosting a big tournament into July, but it's not on the tournament circuit. It's an unsanctioned, unofficial. They got a lot of people coming up for it.
Speaking of those tournaments, what are the are there like is there like prize money for first, second, third place, or just?
So that's one thing that we did this year was we what's the word I'm trying to say? It's been a long day. We made the prize pools more consistent. Last year there were some smaller tournaments that paid out bigger than the big tournaments did.
Oh, wow.
So we made it consistent. All the tournaments have to pay out a minimum 40% of their entry fees. And then the top tier tournaments, if you're tier 1, you've got to add $3,000 out of cash. Tier 2's got to add $1,500 out of cash. So we're sitting around, if they pay out the minimums, about 10 grand in a prize pool. Some people pay upwards of 15. Our big tournaments that we televise are anywhere from 25 to 50.
Dang.
Yeah. So first place, you can walk away with a couple grand, and there's multiple disciplines. So there's the regular hatchet that you threw when you went the first time you went. Then there's big axe, which is, the bigger axe. It's the same game, but bigger axe. And then there's duels where you throw the regular hatchet, but it's 2 people throwing at the same target as a team of 2. So you're both throwing for a bullseye that's this small, and you're both trying to get it in there and get 2 6s.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've got 3 different disciplines, and then that $10,000 prize pool is split between those disciplines. And so if you place in the top 3 in each, you're probably walking away with 3 or 4 grand.
Holy cow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
not bad for a weekend worth of work.
Is there like a stupid question? Is there like a oh god damn it, sports reference athlete
Sports book.
Michael? Is there like a Michael Jordan of axe throwing right now?
Dannielle Sharp, Bond.
No.
Other they obviously other
I would
Dustin
tell you
Bond.
honestly, the name that comes up, his name's Lucas Johnson. He goes to every tournament, almost about as many as he can get his hands on. He's a venue owner.
Yeah.
And I think out of anybody, he's probably the person that does make a living on it. Because he makes a living from his venue and then also from the axe throwing. It's also really cool. He opens escape rooms. That's like his day job. He goes to whatever town and he builds the escape room for them, sets it all up, gives them the keys. Here you go.
I want to get a
But
hold of him.
he's also been doing venue training, helping people set up their axe throwing venues too. So he's like a consultant for both. But he places top 5% in every tournament he goes to. Usually, he was the U.S. Open champion last year. He missed Worlds by this much. He is the reigning 3 years in a row world duels champion with his partner Hayden Brown. They are the Croc blockers. They wear Crocs with socks. That is their identity.
Yes.
It's their team name.
I just sent him a friend request. I'm going to try to get him on the show.
I actually think he's the big axe champion. He's going to be so mad at me if he ever listens to this. I can't remember who won last year. Pretty sure he won the world big axe champion.
I got his Facebook showed up.
You're talking about...
No, he travels to pretty much every tournament, and he's probably the Michael Jordan right now.
That's
dope.
Lucas Johnson. I like that. You mentioned Worlds. How's the popularity of axe throwing in the United States versus everywhere else, in your opinion?
It's definitely more concentrated in the United States, even though it was born in Canada. It's more popular here.
Okay.
So we do have probably 95% of the affiliated venues.
Okay.
But it's starting to pick up overseas. COVID really hurt it. We had a lot more overseas affiliates before COVID. And then they really got shut down because their rules were stricter and stuff. But we've got a couple venues in Australia, a couple in New Zealand. I talk to the New Zealand people all the time. Shout out to Sweet Axe. I'm sure they'll never hear this, but they're the most awesome people.
They'll hear it if you send it to them.
They came to Worlds last year, and Krista and Vanessa, they're all just so awesome. They really are trying to grow the leagues and axe throwing in New Zealand. Yeah. So they host tournaments out there. If you ever want to, go to a tier 3 tournament in New Zealand, you can fly out there for it if you want.
That'd be
a couple grand to get there. We've got the UK, Ireland. They're really involved, and we've got a couple new ones. We've got Hacha, Mexico. Down in, I can't remember what town it's in. We've got a new one in Spain that just opened called Arturo. We've got Barcelona axe throwing in Barcelona, Spain. So it's picking up. It's picking up overseas, and Japan actually just came out of the gate. They've been affiliates for a long time, but they just picked up this last couple of weeks saying, how do we get into tournaments? How do we get into leagues? Like, how do we make this, really competitive over here in Japan? So they're really pushing to do it there.
God, they're really good at being competitive, that entire country.
They're really good at everything.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen their batting cages, dude? Like, their batting cages, they can simulate like professional pitchers and like their deliveries and everything. It's fucking insane.
God, yeah. When you say like, I just think about their Olympic weightlifters and just how like dialed in and focused they are on certain things. And
if Japan comes up professional axe throwers, we're all wiped. Like,
I literally thought you said that, and I was like, God, we're dead.
We're all fucked.
sorry, Lucas Johnson, you will not be the MVP.
So you got a couple questions. So Alder asked if the popularity linked with the growing biking groups, do you think? And then Justin Barton also asked, did the competition start in Canada? And he also, like, it is a Viking thing. So I guess the question would be, like, do you think that either is because of that, or that, like, or one's helping the other speak, or
I
like
think
one
one's
could-
helping the other. I think the popularity of axe throwing is bringing the Vikings out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
Tobias, for instance, my mentor, Tobias the Viking, that is his personality. That's who he is. He drinks mead out of a horn, and he has
Let's
axes
go.
hanging on his wall above his mantle. But he also has like a fluffy little kitten, like named Elsa. Like that is him.
Yeah.
And I think the rise of mainstream axe throwing is helping the Viking groups, but I don't think Vikings is why it started in Canada. I will tell you that it was Battle, the Backyard Axe Throwing League. It was just some guys in their backyard throwing axes at a target, and they were drinking beer, and then more people would come over and do it, and they started doing weekly competitions and just making it a thing. And then after there's a documentary about it. I'll have to find it and send it to you guys. I'm pretty sure it's called Going Clutch. They made it. So the International Axe Throwing Federation was the original founding axe throwing league. IATF has a different target, different rules, but essentially it's you're throwing an axe at the wall, with a score. And so they were doing IATF rules at Battle, and they got enough people that were like, you know what, let's turn this into a building. And so Battle became BATL, Backyard Axe Throwing League, became the venue in Canada. They started opening venues. They still have probably a couple dozen venues open. And they just hosted their championship, their International Axe Throwing Championship at Battle in Toronto this weekend. Really good friend of mine actually took IATC again. Randa Marquez, shout out to you, boo. He won a couple years ago, and he just won again this year. So congrats to him. So that's where it came from. And then Mario got the stick in, the bug in his ass to got the bug in his ear to start his own league. With different rules. He saw the need for growing the sport. IATF really wasn't growing, doing the work to grow. Not trying to bash them or anything, but they kind of just skate along. Versus Waddle has, in the last few years, we've gone from 20 venues in 2018 to over 500 now, and we're on ESPN 1 to 2 times a year. And it's, Waddle's getting to be a household name. You hear the World Axe Throwing League, and you're like, yeah, I think I've heard of that, or oh, I saw that on ESPN while I was at the bar one night with my friends, or, it's getting to be popular enough that people know what it is, and we're really trying to push axe throwing forward to be mainstream, like you said, like bowling.
Share that real quick again. So Going Clutch, the birth of urban axe throwing, is what she was talking about. Axe throwing, what was once a rural pastime from Canada, has begun to evolve into a worldwide sport. This documentary captures that evolution from the point of view of one of the original Canadian members of the periods.
Of the periods. So that's the inception of Battle and IATF and the IATF throwers. And we have a lot of IATF throwers that came over to Waddle. They still throw IATF. But Waddle's a little more competitive, so they come in, they live with us.
That's cool.
Fucking awesome. So I'm sending that dude Lucas Johnson a message right now. Like, yo, you came up as the GOAT of axe throwing, and we need you to come defend it.
He's not going to believe you that I said that he was the GOAT of axe throwing.
Well, he's gonna have to listen to it for himself. Marketing genius. Sorry.
They actually have their own podcast. What the fuck is it called?
Really?
Sit your axe down. And so they'll get to tournaments together, and when the tournament's over at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, they'll sit down drinking beers and just talk about the new rules that have come out, the tournament circuit, the whatever's happening in the community. And it'll just be 3 hours of drunken axe throwers talking shit to each other. The first one got really vulgar. Like it got real interesting. And then after that, they were like, what? And then Bill Feinberg, he's another axe thrower that runs a podcast. Again, can't remember what it's called. I really can't remember that one. But he interviews axe throwers, and he just talks about their stories. He talks about, kind of like what we're doing right now. And it's just all about axe throwing in their lives and some really influential people in the community. Dr. Dan Ceballos is one of my favorite people. He's just this super nice. He's a chiropractor, so we all call him Dr. Dan. He's got an hour and 45-minute interview on there with Bill, and it is like one of my favorite things. I've listened to it a couple times now, and every time I listen to it, I get inspired to do something new. Like, helps me think of something at work. It gives me ideas on inspirations and stuff, and he's great. But
That's awesome.
I'm gonna look up what that one's called because you guys would probably enjoy that. You might even do a crossover episode with Bill Feinberg.
Well, I actually, just since you mentioned it, I was like, I added it to the end of the message before I sent him, because I mean, that's ultimately, like, that's how podcasts help grow each other, you know. Like, we want you to talk, and we'd love to come on yours as well and chat.
It's called an axe throwing podcast. That's what it's called.
That's original.
Oh, and Lucas Johnson, episode 18.
While we're shouting out podcasts, I want to shout out the Dad Edge
podcast.
podcast. That's one of my favorite ones right now. The Dad Edge with Larry, fucking, I always forget his last name, but that's all I've been listening to lately. And it's basically just like built on being a better father, all that shit, you know? So that's kind of what I'm into, is growing as a human right now. And I think that's what this is all about too. And I do think that this episode was everything that I wanted it to be, as far as introducing kind of that bond that axe throwing put into your life, and the growth and the confidence and everything that came from just being part of something again, which again, this is a veteran mental health podcast. So ultimately, you guys, I want you to know that, you know, these are things that we would love for you to get into. And we're more than willing to start like a little virtual league if you don't have anywhere close. I mean, fuck, I think that'd be cool if we all build a target, and just, even if it's just, you know, we mess around for a while on Facebook Live or whatever, or we just get together and just talk about it. I don't know, man. I think it just, anything you could do to get into a group, a tight-knit group, a tight-knit community like that again. Just to remind you of, I mean, like the Vikings were the original veterans, you know, that kind of shit, like that's tribe shit too, as much as, you know, the military was for us, as much as, you know, all that shit. So, I mean, yeah, that's everything.
I just want to reiterate how close-knit the axe throwing community is and how many of us there are. And we're all different. There's all different types, what they believe in politics and religion. And this, we filmed a commercial last year at one of our events, and it's, I am an axor is what it's trying to show you. And it shows you what people do in their job, and then they're an axor. There's kids, there's elderly people, there's men, women, every race, every color, every shape, every size. It's a very accessible sport for anyone with a disability.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds and thousands of us now that, hundreds and thousands.
We're talking about the future.
Yeah, the future.
And thousands and one.
Go to these tournaments, and it's like spending time with family. And if you go on the discussion page for World Axe Throwing League after a tournament weekend, you'll see the post. You'll see this long ass post and a photo dump of, I got to spend the weekend with my family. And it just talks about all the experiences they had. Everybody does a weekend dump, a recap. And that's my favorite thing to read after a tournament weekend. And I love doing my own recaps, but you'll hear it every single time. And you'll see it when they post it. I got to spend the weekend with my family. And getting into the axe throwing community is great. A lot of veterans and veteran-owned facilities are out there. And one thing that I wanted to touch on as well is, like I said, it's a very accessible sport. When I was a coach in Denver, I had a recurring group come in every couple months. And it was a group that would reach out to veterans and get them together to socialize.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like Match.com, but for veterans. Like, they would reach out and they would get them together and get them to meet each other. And one specific group that kept coming back to our venue that liked it, their group was all amputees. And some of them were double amputees. Some of them only had one arm, one leg, or had lost both their legs and were in a wheelchair or with the prosthetics. And every single one of them was good at axe throwing. Specifically, I remember this man, I cannot remember his name, but he had lost his left arm and his right leg. So he was on a crutch, and he didn't have another, an extra hand because he had the crutch. But he would get to the line where he needed to be. he would balance himself, and he would throw, and he was the best one of the week.
That's
Of the night.
fucking awesome. Let's
Yeah.
go.
And there's accessibility for wheelchairs because there's a fault line rule for it. You can be a little bit closer as long as, you know, the wheel's behind the fault line. We have 6-year-olds that throw. We have 6-year-olds that compete competitively. We have an 11-year-old big axe thrower that made it to the world championship last year. A girl, by the way, 11-year-old girl. We had a couple 11-year-old girls on ESPN for the Ocho throwing big axe, Straw and Jocelyn. So it's just accessible for everyone. So if you think, oh, I've got a bad shoulder, you know, or like James was saying his wrist, like you can make it work. If you got a bad shoulder, you can throw underhand. Like that guy who was doing that trick shot, that's a legal throw, you know, or we can teach you to throw with your left or teach you to throw with both. But it's extremely accessible for almost everyone.
That's awesome. That's cool as shit. Like what you know what Kyle was saying, just like cultivating that community and like we talk about mental health a lot here on the Veteran Chat Project, and you know one of the best ways in combating mental health is finding those hobbies and outlets. And in my opinion, me being a student of this today in the past hour, just learning about this, I feel like this is a great opportunity for veterans out there just to find another hobby. I saw, two, within this entire discussion, like building the board. I mean, that in itself, you like to work with your hands and go outside, build a fucking target,
Right.
and then like, getting together with friends or friends and family or going, meeting new friends or making new family, cultivating new relationships to help you on your mental health journey. This is a great avenue. I like this. I love this. I appreciate you coming on today. This is dope.
And I'll do what I can to help you guys with your virtual league. That's something that I would very much like to, if I can be involved and help you with that.
Absolutely.
We could get you maybe set up in the app, or I could at least teach you how to score, and you could keep paper scores. But if it grew big enough that you wanted to use the app, I'm sure we could get you. I think
right now we got
paper access for it.
Barton's probably already building it. He said challenge accepted, so he's already like he's building that shit right now. Alder wants to do it too. This is a good thing he mentioned too. Making new goals and growing as a person is great points to keep people in the world. That's what we're trying to do here, man. We're trying to help everybody and find places for people to feel accepted. And it just seems like you said, like Mindy mentioned, that I got chills when you said like the group of amputee veterans. Like that's something I hadn't heard. I think that's pretty fucking awesome.
That sticks with me. Like I'll never forget that group, and I'll never forget how just like positive they all were. Yeah. Like their energy just like flowed into me. Like I was in such a good mood that day from them.
That's fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You got any more questions? You got anything else?
No, I feel bad. Like I asked like 50 questions.
Dude, that's what we're here for. I mean, the show doesn't have a limit. We're not we gotta go. My kid's still
I will
sleeping.
Always sit down and talk about Axoring for hours.
That's exactly what you said.
That's actually one of the things that bonded Dustin and I. We had talked about Tiger King, but then our friend Dennis was writing the book, and his book was literally just stories about Axors. Each chapter was a new person, and it talked about how'd you get into it, why you like it, some of your favorite memories. And so he had Axors interview other Axors, and I was sitting right here on this couch with this computer, and Dustin called me and did my interview, and we talked for 3.5 hours. And Dennis had to transcribe that entire interview, and it's in a book somewhere. And he dedicated the beginning of the book to us because we were getting ready to get married when he published it. And he was like, shout out to Dustin and Dannielle. He did her interview and how to get him married.
What's the name of the book?
Oh, don't ask me that. I don't remember things.
You'll have to send me a link because I'm sure our faithful followers, the 3 of them, would love to hear and read that book. I say that, but I say that with so much love because it's the same. You guys are awesome, and Barton is starting to tune in as well when we go on. So brother, we appreciate you coming on again to be a listener as much as you are, to bring what you bring to the show as well. And we're excited for that mini series that we talked about for helping the transitioning veterans. So, like this tribe is getting stronger and stronger by the day, and it's truly fucking awesome. So, and the fact that I just got to bring family into the tribe of family is even more special to me. So yeah, I mean, thank you, KZ, for letting me bring her on. I know you were excited, and Danny, now I get to say it. Danny, I thank you so much for coming. No one else gets to call her that.
Yeah, no one else gets to call me that. I'm Dannielle. I even put it in the box, Dannielle.
Yeah, like not Danny.
What should I type?
Like,
not Danny.
You notice I only said it once.
Listen,
that's because that was my
here to talk about. I will always get it into the hands of the people that need it most, that would benefit from it most, which is everybody, by the way. But I'd love to come back anytime, and I hope Lucas or anybody else takes you up on your request to come, because it's such an interesting. Like, he has such a different point of view owning a venue, and being a pro thrower, and I come from the logistical side of running the things. He's on the competitive side. He's on the what it's like to be a competitor, what it's like to be in the community like that. Because as much as I want to be as part of Waddle, I'm a little more separated from the community because I am that not authority figure, but I work for the big guy.
Yeah.
I work for Big Brother, so he's a lot more plugged into the community than I am.
Hell yeah.
Well, I think that wraps us up for the night. If anybody has any other questions for us regarding axe throwing, I put the link for the building the targets in the comments section. If you guys really want to get after that, for real, message us. I'll start getting she said you can go to your local axe throwing place. What is it? It was Cottonwood, right? For the planks.
Yeah, Cottonwood's
Poplar.
Yeah, just be like, hey, I built a target in my backyard, and I was wondering if I could buy some like really good boards. And they might give you the shittiest of their boards, but they're still going to be better than pine.
Right. So
wet wood, good wood.
Wet wood,
good wood.
Get that wet wood, baby. But no, it's a lot of good resources came out of tonight's episode, and I think a lot of good's going to come of it. I think we opened ourselves to some really good avenues, and to some great people. Hopefully, once we post this episode, I will send it to you and ask that you just share it and with all of your friends and say, hey, these guys are doing something awesome. And again, just because we're Veteran Chat Project, we're not going to be married to just veterans, because we understand that mental health is an everyone problem. And I'm working on a shirt right now. I'm not sure how I want to fucking phrase the back of it, but I do want something along the lines of like on the back of the shirt, just like, if you're reading this, basically like, thank you for living, or, like the world's a better place because you're still here. Some kind of thing like that. And then, just run some more shirts and get some shirts out to people, because I like that shit. I like wearing different shirts, and I like coming up with custom ones. And if I still had the time, I'd be doing it myself. But I really like working with Trevor over at Anheuser Designs. He's hooking us up, and we get them patches. They should be here soon. So those will be dope. I'll be able to send those out for about $12 a piece. You'll be able to press them on to anything you want to, your gym bag. I'll be making some custom hats, selling them separately as well. So, we got some cool shit coming, guys. I appreciate you all coming on, and I appreciate you so much. And I love you so much. And it was great to see you. You don't have to hang up, but we're just going to end the episode real quick, and we can chat afterwards. So thank you guys, everybody, and good night. Goodbye.